Hey everybody, welcome to the Shotgun Rick. You want to make these basic, simple picture frames with these basic tools and just using my DeWalt staple gun that has the capability of shooting brad nails. That's it. This is all I use, with the exception of my miter saw. You can use a miter box saw. You can get them at Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace, any of those places, around $10 to $15 max. And we can build these. I'm going to show you how. Now the wood is just basic wood. This is 1 5/8 by 1/2 inch pine. This is bead pine. Look in the description below and I'll have all the information for everything. Now if you want to go the added expense, you can go and have some glass cut if you want to have glass in your picture frame. Me, I'm going to use plexiglass. When I made the raffle ticket tumbler, I have some left over. I'm going to cut that and use. This is the board we're going to be using. Flat stock piece of molding. What I'm going to do, I'm going to glue and nail the molding right on the edge here. So when we cut, this is going to be the inside of the picture frame. And that way the picture will sit here, the glass will sit here, or plexiglass. Have something for that to write on. When you apply this to the board, you don't want it set too far back, and you want it set it way up here. You want to get pretty flush with this here. You may want it to be just a little bit higher. That's fine, because when you take your sandpaper and just sand it, it'll take just that edge off and it'll be smooth and it'll blend in and it'll look really good. We're going to glue it, staple it with the brads in here, let it dry and come back, and we're going to make our cuts. But lay this out first so you know where you're going to put those brads, so you don't want to start sawing and hit that stinking brad nail and that just bites. So as far as the frame layout, you might be thinking, how do I measure this for my picture? And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be framing this. This is the last time my father and I went out dove hunting before he passed away. So I'm going to frame that so I can hang it in my room, and basically it's going to sit like that. So see, that's what this ridge is for. It's going to sit right here. 5x7 picture. What you're going to do as far as the correct measurements to cut your frame at. Now being that it's a 5x7 picture, this inside measurement is your 5x7. Your outside measurement is bigger. Because this has the molding on the inside, you're not going to put that against your fence and cut. You're going to use the back side to cut. Put this against the back fence of your miter saw or your miter box. You're going to be cutting this way and this way. But if you cut it at 5x7 on the back side, you're going to be short on the inside. Try to explain this so you kind of understand. If I'm framing the picture and the wood is a 1/2 inch thick, I will have to add on an extra 1/2 inch on either end of my dimension. If it's a 5x7, that means my 5-inch inside is going to equal a 6-inch outside dimension. This is your 90. This measurement will be the same measurement as the thickness of your material. This is 1/2 inch. From this 90 to the end is a 1/2 inch. So from this 90, I'll be going a 1/2 inch to this end. So a 1/2 inch this end, 1/2 inch on this end. That makes 1 inch. That means my 5-inch inside goes to 6-inch outside. Another example, if my frame was like this, this is 1.5 inches. If this is my 90 and my inside dimension is 5 inches, I'm going to go over 1.5 inches to the 45 end. So this is going to be 45 this way. That means from this cut at my 5-inch inside width equals out to a 1.5 inches extra on each end, meaning my 5x7 goes to a anyone I can't get that stinking movie out of my head. God. ADD sometimes is entertaining thyself. The 5x7 equals out to a 8-inch. So your 5-inch becomes 8 inches. 1.5 inches on this side, 1.5 inches on this side. Hope that explains a little bit better so you know what you're going to cut. Dimension wise. Because if you're using material this way, framing it this way, this is your 90 cut. That's your 5 inches and this is your 7-inch. So right there is your inside mark. Now you have to 45 that to here. If this is 1.5 inches this way, it's going to be 1.5 inches this way. Helps that all? I don't know. That's the best way I can explain it. I hope it helps you. Now, I may have misspoke when I did the review for this staple gun, but I want to clarify something to make sure. If I misspoke and got you confused, I apologize. On this base plate here, it has an arrow going to this side, and I think when I was doing a review, I had it reversed. I was saying this side, but in fact it is on this side. But when you put in the staples, you lay them here, and when you put your brad nails in, you line them on this side, and it says right here you got your staples, your crown rounds or cable staples I call them, and the brads, and the arrow points this side, is pointing that way. You line them up here. Since I didn't have any, because I have brad nail guns, so I didn't buy it for that. But since I had such an overwhelming response to the video, I figured I'm going to make a video for you guys for this. So I went out and I have arrow BN1810 part number 5/8 brads. Now the wood, pine is fine. As you can see, I tried it already with the setting on minus, and that's what it did. It didn't go in all the way. When I reset it to the plus, you see it took it in flush perfect. So that's what I'm going to leave it at. That's why I say test it in, test the piece prior to the project so you know what setting you can use, even if it will go into it. Guarantee you if this was walnut, it wouldn't work. It's too hard. Oak, any hardwood, it won't do. Poplar, pine, I think would be fine. Okay, I have one out because I've been practicing with this, so I know what kind of wood I could and couldn't use. Had to make sure. I don't want to show you a project and you not be able to do it because it's not going through. Like I said, pine is fine. Now, these have the head on it. You can have the headless smooth, but when you buy those as my air gun brads, they will have an arrow like printed on here for where they need to go. So be aware. But this have the heads in it, and the heads go on the bottom because that is the tip. So look on here. It says the arrow points that way. So we're going to lay these in right there. Set it there. And that's it. See, it goes right in. Lock. Now in the setting, the brad setting is the bottom. So we're going to click that down. So the set for the brads. So remember, and this is set on the plus, not the minus. I'm going to set it at plus. So I'm just going to do a little bit of glue here. We're going to put on a little bit of glue, staple a few in there, do this whole board, let it dry, and we're going to come back and we're going to start doing our cutting. Measure out your 5x7s, 8x10s. You're not going to saw into your brads. So because I had these already, my first one, I'm just going to cut here. It's going to make me a mark. So I'm going to cut this off. I'm just going to waste that end. 5x7, on the inside. So the outside is a 1/2 inch bigger on both ends, so it makes it, instead of a 5x7 inside, outside measurements are, anyone? I watched Ferris Bueller again the other day. I love that movie. So the outside measurements, not 5x7, 6x8. So I'm gonna do probably 6.5. I want to make sure I got a little extra for when I cut the miter down, so I'm good to go. So I'm gonna do the 6.5. 6.5. Then I'm gonna do 8.5. And another 8.5. So that will be, about there will be the total 6688. I need to go and eat some dinner. I don't know what I'm thinking here all of a sudden. So those are my marks. So that's where my cut's going to be in the general area. Just so I know I don't want any brads right in there. Doesn't have to be right on, just so I know they're not right there. So when I nail it, I'm going to probably nail one here, a couple in the middle, and one on each end. But I'm not going to be near where the cuts are going to be, so I don't have to worry about cutting into a brad. I'm just going to throw a little bit of glue on this. I'm going to do the whole length. Set this up here on there. Okay, so like I said, I'm just going to feel where this is right here. Make sure that's pretty level right there. Take my staple gun, and right there you see the arrow, so you know where it's going to come out right there. And if you look in there, if you look in here, you don't see no red, so I know I have brads in there. That's your little window you can check. Remember I tell you about that. So let's just put a couple of brads in here. I'm going to put that arrow right there where I want it. Hold it. There we go. Here we go. Wipe that down and let that set. That's what the front looks like. So all I have to do is take a little punch, and some of these didn't go in all the way. We'll set them in, and we're fine. But basic tools. Well, I'm telling you, basic tools. Even though it's not going as planned, it still can work. So basically what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take my punch, go down the bead here, make sure all the brads are inset. I'm just going to tap this down where it's almost flush, take my punch and set it in the rest of the way. Just when it's below the surface, I'm good. So I'm going to go all the way down here, check these, just to make sure they're set properly. You can still do this with minimal tools. So because this isn't going in like I thought, but it just doesn't set us up below, and some of them are a little high, all you need is a little punch, a hammer, set them in, and you're still good to go. This is very, very basic tool. I'm going to get my miter set up, and I'm going to cut these. Like I said, I unfortunately do not have my miter box and my miter box saw no more. You can still do this if you go to the Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace, any hardware store, and buy you a little miter box saw. And like I said, I think I saw them for around $10, somewhere around that area. Very cheap entry, and you can make you some really nice picture frames, and this will get you started, give you the basics, and the sky is the limit from there. You can get as elaborate and crazy as you want as you craft your ability to make the picture frame. Now if you only have a miter box and a hand miter saw, you could use, and they are shaped like a U shape because the wood fits inside. So the one side you put a little backer board like this, and I would think you could drill holes or something from one side to screw into your wood. So you screw the wood in there, and that way when you measure from your miter cut over to where you want, you mount you a piece of wood in there. So every time you slide your wood in, I'll use this, every time you slide your wood in, you hit right there, and that's where you're going to cut every time. That's why I said you need a stop block to be able to do this properly, so you have the correct measurements on the top, bottom, inside, and side. If you try to cut every one individually, it will not work. Seriously, it will not. If you have that plastic or extruded miter box, mount you a piece of wood in there a little bit longer than the wood, so you can mount you a stop block. That way you have a better chance of a good and precise square picture frame. This is the side with the molding, that's the back. So I'm just going to lay it in like this, and I'm going to cut. This was the waste, remember, that's why I just tried it on the end, made sure how it was going to work. So I'm going to cut that off. This is my first two, the sides. This one and this one are the top and bottom. I'm going to cut these out first, and then we'll do the next step. Now, so you don't get confused, it might be a good idea to do a little pre-marking so you don't make a mistake and accidentally cut it the wrong angle. So what I'm going to do, this is the edge, so my 45 is going to go this way, like that, like that. So I know that's the right angle on each end, so I don't make a mistake. So let's get on the miter and we'll cut these up real quick. I'm going to mark every piece so I make sure I do it the right way. Okay, let's cut these up real quick. Well, now that I made my mistake, cut that wrong, set my miter to the right angle. See, even though I made the mark, I still forgot. It's my mind's trying to get this set up to get a good shot. It's just I forgot. So I'm glad I had extra. So I cut the one in, and now I'm going to cut this to length. There we go. Now I'll get this other one in here and cut. I like that better. There we go. Tighten that up. Went ahead and cut up the remaining piece to make another frame. So I can actually make 2 frames now. And as you remember, the frame or the picture was a 5x7. So that means our outside diameter is, because of 1/2 inch material, 1/2 inch on each side, 5x7 becomes a 6x8. So outside diameter 6 by just about an 1/8 and a 1/16 or shy under 1/16. I'm going to try to get this rubber band around here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to or not. Maybe not. I finagled it, got the rubber band on there. So I can let you see how important it is to get all the angles right on it. And those are very good 45s on there. So when you put the picture in, it has a little bit of wiggle room. And then we have it. Now I'm going to attempt, I do me attempt, I'm going to attempt to get this glued and get the frame put together with the rubber band. So got a little bit of time, it won't go too fast. So what I'm going to do, get the rubber band on here, and I'm going to pull on the bottom, relieve a little stress, and then top, let it get open. Glue the bottom of this one. Get that in there. Now, get this one ready and slide it in. A little bit of practice, you can do it too. I had to figure out a technique to get these in there, and I figured it out. So this is how I'm going to do it. I said I've never done this before like this, so this is completely new for me. Success! Yay! Okay, now I'm just going to go through, make sure these are coming together right there where I want it. They're looking lined up. We're going to let that set and dry, then we'll see if we can put some nails in, or we'll figure something out. I'm going to try this while those pieces are drying. I'm just going to clamp this and see if we can even get this to staple that brad in place. So let me get this. I don't know if I can do this now, I'm going to try. So I'm going to see if that will staple into there just to see if it will work. So I'm not sure how that's going to work. I'll be darned, it works. So when that dries, we'll put a couple of them in there, and it says not quite flush. So we'll take the punch and just inset a little bit, but it will work. I'm just going to run a brad on opposite ends on each side all the way around. I'm going to let this set probably another hour to make sure it's nice and dry before I take the hammer and punch and make sure they're inset. So I'm just going to go just a little bit off center. Look at my arrow, and that's where I want it. That went all the way in. This side, switch it over so it's on the front, and then this other side I'm going to go more towards the back, off center. I'm going to off center each one all the way around. Goes in all the way. That's really coming out good. Again, level it right there, going kind of towards the end. That went in. Move my rubber band. Top, going off center a little bit. There we have it. All the way around, and these are all really inset. They were flush except for just this one. So with an occasional one that doesn't go in all the way, that's fine. You made this whole thing with glue, a miter, hand miter, so you could actually cut this, but I don't have that. And the staple gun with brads. So the next thing, I'm going to cut my plexiglass for this. You know, I'm going to try to use my razor, make a mark on it, see if it'll break. I don't know if I could do it that way or not, because normally I would use my table saw, but I'm trying to do this with very basic tools that you can have at a very budget friendly price. If I do the 5x7 this way, I'm going to lose too much. I can't get it, so I'm going to waste all that. So I'm going to do a 7 this way, so I can cut this, and then I get 2 5s that way, and I'll be good. Let me get my square and see if we can cut this first. Now what I did, I'm clamping this edge to my table saw. I measured over, I am right at 7 inches. I'm going to make sure this is at 7 inch. Yeah, it's perfect. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to make a line there. I'm going to scar this edge. And I don't know if I'll be able to break this or not. I'm just going to score it a few times, see if I can make a good mark on there. And see how that's going to work. Now, I got a good mark on there. See if I can get this to break off. Ooh, that was good. Oops, go this way with it. There. Sweet, it broke off clean. That's good right there. Oh, that's why. There it goes. That's a good clean break right there. That's pretty close. It'll work. See if it fits in there. Oh yeah. Nice solid fit all the way around. So there's our glass. Since I made 2 of these, one, I'm going to use my router table here. I'm just going to round over the face. The other one I'm going to leave plain and just sand it by hand, take the edge off. So a little bit different. I'm going to just see which style I like better. Now you can see it's just nice rounded over edge. Actually looks pretty good. Gives that frame a little more definition to it. With the glass cut, I'm just going to go around and double tap, make sure these are in good so we can cover them up. Remember, this is the only one that didn't go in all the way. There we go. Just make sure they're below a little bit. There. Now this is 150 grit. Just want to go on the edges here. And just take that edge off. That's nice. And I'm just going to do right here to smooth that out so it blends in real well. And basically all I have is just a little piece of wood I use so it stays flat. All you just do is take that little edge off. Makes that corner real smooth. Real lightly. Just making sure all marks suffer off of here. And any excess fluid that may have oozed out. Oh, I forgot I gotta take off the marks I made on there earlier with my pencil. And also you're going to blend in this edge here where the molding was applied. So it all blends in real well. Take your time, go around, feel, and when it all feels good, you're done. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to run this edge here a little bit. Just so I make sure it's smooth. That's real good. Then I'm just going to go on the inside here and give a quick sand and make sure all corners are good right here. Good. One more, a couple times across. It's done. Let's stain it. Now, in keeping with just basic tools, nothing else, not even a drill, I was sitting there trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. I figured it out. So, with our plexiglass cut, it fits. It was a little bit tight on this edge, so I just took my sandpaper, just rubbed it a few times, fit in until I got to fit in. Now, whoops. Now it fits in good. found a box, took one of the sides off the box, just cut it. This piece of cardboard. Cut it out to fit. So that fits in there now. That's what's going to be the back. What I want to do, we're going to mark every side with a dot. Then we're going to use the staple gun to put in a brad, but we don't want it all the way in, so we're going to back the power off, put it on the minus, not the plus. We're going to back it here to the minus, and we're going to staple it. I'm going to push that down in there, and I think I'm just going to do 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. I'm not going to worry about the side. So I'm going to make that right there. There we go. Mark here, mark here. Okay, so I have the mark there and the mark there. I'm just going to take this in, and I look on my side, and it's just a little bit behind, so I can rest this against the ridge right here, and I'll be fine. And it doesn't have to be right at those marks, just as long as it's in here, because I want 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top, and that's all I'm going to have. And again, I'm not going to push this hard. I'm just going to let it shoot in there because I don't want it all the way in. Because I'm going to pull it out, use that hole to push in the brads that we separated to hold the backing in. Pull them out. Now I can peel this off. Very, very, very nice. Put my pitcher in there. Put my backing on there. Reassemble these in there. There we go. That looks good. I want it kind of a rustic look because it's an outdoors picture. I think that came out well. A couple dollars, you can go get this at any hardware store. These are 1/2 inch eyelets. Oops. So there you go. A couple little eyelets we can screw into the frame. You don't want to go in the middle. Me, I will split the difference and I will go in the middle of the top half. Maybe about, and we're going to go about 1/2 inch on the inside. Screw this little eyelet in there. And do it with the pitcher out. It's going to make it easier to get this set in first. Now I have just a piece of wood, maybe 1.5 inches. I said about the middle is about here. So I'm just going to go a little bit. I'm going to use this as a guide. What I'm going to do, this just kind of helps me make sure that they are somewhat symmetrical on both sides, about the same. So I'm just going to put my nail in right here. I'm just going to nail it in a little bit to get the hole started. Just like that. Just take it out. Now I have a starting point for this eyelet. I'm going to put that in there and just turn it. It will start, but because you put that whole nail in there, it starts much easier. So I want it about right there. Just tap it. Goes in. Pull it out. Okay. There we are. Go through there. I'm just going to do a few little spirals. That ain't coming out for nothing. Now and I'm just going to do the other side, but I'm going to give this a little slack because I want it to not be way up here. I don't want it to touch. I want it to be about a 1/2 inch or so from the top. So I'm going to go there, cut a little bit extra off of this. There we go. Put that in there. And I'm going to pull it up. About right there. It ain't going to go nowhere. See, it's right there. Now you see, that's just straight. There's real little angle to it. You hang this on there. See? Now, if you angle this with an angle like that, now you set this on. Look at that. Now it pulls that towards the wall. Look at that. Perfect. So there you have it. That's how you can mount your simple picture frame to the wall and make sure it's snug against the wall. So there you have it. Simple frames, simple tools, simple procedure. Just take your time, take some notes, rewind, check it out again if you missed something. If you're a little confused, don't worry. I'm confused sometimes too. Comment below if you got a question, needs a little more information on something, and I'll get back to you. My wife likes these so much, I think I may have to get in production line and make some more. She really likes these, so that's okay. That's good. Remember, like, subscribe. I'll be doing shadow boxes, some other projects coming up. Pretty much done with getting tools, so now it's cleaning and doing projects. So like I said, 2016 is going to be a good, exciting year. A lot of things going to happen, and I'm really anxious to get it going. So be blessed, get out there, take back your shack. Follow me as I take mine back. Grab your tools, get out there, build something. Build one for a friend, build one for family. They'll love it. Most importantly, get out there, do this. Build it for your sanity. Thanks again. See you next video.